everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I'm making a home using some of the items that came with the Tropical Getaway mod pack by Nando. And just in case you haven't heard of this mod, basically what it does is it turns Granite Falls into a tropical beach world called Palm Falls. So it's just something fun to throw into your game if you're getting sick of Granite Falls and want the effect of sending your sim somewhere tropical. Although Selva Dorada is tropical, but it's like a different kind of tropical. You know, it's more of like a jungle kind of a tropical than a beach kind of a tropical. So basically, it's just a fun way to switch up your game if you want something new. And in case you want to learn more about this mod, I did put up an overview video a few days ago, so I'll put a card into this video linking to that in case you want to check that out and learn more about this mod. But onto the house. With this house, I was trying to go for a Southeast Asian inspired look because that's not a style I've really built in before. But I don't know, that's kind of the vibe I got from this world in a way. Or at least it's a style that I thought could fit into this world. Like I said, I just want to do something that I hadn't really done before because I also thought about building a beach home like in an Outer Banks or Myrtle Beach kind of a style. But back in the Sims 3 days, I built so many homes in that style that even though that was years ago, I just didn't really want to do that for this. Although that's a style that I may build in the future, like at some point, probably well for now. But yeah, this time this is what I wanted to do. But I actually struggled a lot with getting this build started because I wanted to find a picture of a home specifically from East Asia and Southeast Asia and try to recreate it, but I kept just having so many false starts that I weren't happy with and I couldn't find the right items to try to get across what I wanted to. And I don't know, I guess I was just in a mood the day I was working on this and was being really, really picky about what I was building for some reason. So I ended up rather than building off of a specific picture, I just kind of hodgepodge together different things that I saw when I was looking. Because I looked at so many, I searched so many different things when I was trying to find inspiration. I searched tropical Southeast Asian homes, beach houses from the Philippines, because I was actually trying to specifically build something inspired by the Philippines. But like I said, nothing was just really panning out right. So just ended up with this thing where I just kind of built putting together different things that I saw. So I don't think it's exactly true to the style of that area, but I mean, maybe it still does have the look of something you would see in that region of the world. So if any of you are from that part of the world or are familiar with that part of the world, I'm curious as to what you think of this, whether you think this still looks like something that could be from Southeast Asia, or if I just ended up with something completely different and it's just this Frankenstein of different styles from different areas, because that might be what it is. Although I think it still does have some elements of what I saw from looking at architecture from the Philippines, because I did see a lot of homes that had a similar roof line to this one, where you had a hipped roof and then you had a gable roof over part of that, if that makes sense. I think you'll see what I mean if you look at the roof of this house. So I think in that way it is kind of something that you would see from that part of the world. So I think I did still end up with something like what I was going for. And I think another reason why I struggled so much with getting started on this house and trying to come up with something that I actually liked is because I was determined to use the tiki wallpaper that came with this mod pack. And while it's a really nice wallpaper and I do like it, I just could not find a way to use it on the exterior of the house that I was happy with, because I didn't really like how it looked. Because I think, no, that's not what I have on there. I wasn't sure if that was what I just tried on there briefly or not, but it wasn't something that I liked covering the whole house. I just wasn't happy with how that looked on this house. So I was trying to mix in different kinds of wallpapers and I just wasn't happy with how any of that looked. So I just decided to just go with something completely different, and I ended up using these stucco type wallpapers from Jungle Adventure, and I thought that looked a whole lot better. Although I was a bit sad that I didn't really get to use that wallpaper, but I also just wanted to be truly happy with what I was making. So there were some things that I wanted to use on this build that I didn't end up using. I also wanted to use the roof that came with it, but I didn't really feel like that quite suited this house. Because also, when I was looking at a lot of pictures, I didn't see that kind of roofing either. So I think that's something that's probably seen in a different area of the world than what I was going for. I don't know, maybe it is used in that part of the world. It was a really nice roof though. And then I also didn't end up using the foundation, of course, because this house is raised up off the ground, on stilts. Because that was also another thing that I wanted to try doing. And here I was just taking some of the corbels that came with seasons and just sticking them in these columns to give it the look of more support. I thought that was something that would look neat. I was noticing that the houses I was seeing pictures of had that kind of a thing where it wasn't just a straight up column, you had these corbel. I don't think it'd be called corbel in that situation, but you had these braces kind of supporting the upper level in addition to the column. So I was trying to recreate that here, and I really like how it looks. Although later down the road, I did realize that I could have just used spandrels down there, but I like the look of the corbels more because they're larger. Like I think they look neater than just the spandrels, which are very small and you wouldn't have been able to see as much. But I did, of course, end up putting spandrels on the upper level. But even though I did get to use those other items that I wanted to use, I did still use the pool floaties, of course. I think I might put them in here shortly, like after I figure out what I'm doing with this pool. And then I also used the sliding door that came with it as well. Yeah, I think shortly I'm going to end up sticking the floaters in the pool. Because yeah, there was a modified version of the sliding doors from the most recent patch that had some rattan in it, like some of that palm tree material that you see in more tropical areas of the world. So there were a few things that I got to use. Oh yeah, and I also used the ceiling fans because there's a modified version of the ceiling fans that would actually cool the house as well. So I used those. And also, so my overview, I mentioned that my Sims weren't able to nap on the floaters when I tried to have them do that. But Nando let me know that that was because I got an earlier version of this mod than like what you get if you download the early access version from the Patreon. So that's why, like, apparently in the version I have that didn't work right, but then he fixed it. So yeah, if you have download the early access version of this mod, then it will be fine. Like, they will be fixed. Because I was wondering why, because like someone, Chrissy York, commented on the overview saying that she was able to have Sims nap on it, and I was like wondering why it wouldn't work in my game, but it was fine in hers. So that explains. It was just the version of the mod that I had. So there's some other things like that that have been taken care of, because like there was a few other things that I noticed were not right, and then I'm sure like those are being worked on as well. Oh, like one of the things I noticed was that if you try to find the items just by filtering by custom content, not all of the items will show up. But a weird way I found to get all of them to show up was to search for the name of the umbrella, because the umbrella that comes with it is called Rihanna's umbrella. So if you start typing in Rihanna, then, you know, click on that, then all of the items will pop up in the results of that search, like if you have the custom content filter on. Or like if you get what I mean, like if you click on that result from the search and then it goes to the item in the catalog and you have it sorted by custom content, then everything shows up. Because I was like, after I installed them on, I was trying to look through everything. I was wondering why so many things were missing. Like I couldn't find the palm swing and some other things. So yeah, if you're running into that trouble, then that's how you get around that. So hopefully that's something else that'll be fixed in the final release version of the mod, which should be out in a couple of weeks. And another thing I noticed that I'm not sure if anyone else noticed is that if you have like the bracelet that came with it on your Sim and then you go to have them wear the beach bag accessory, then the beach, like not all of the, like I think only one of the swatches for the beach bag will show up. And I did realize, like after I came across, I was trying to figure out why that was happening, that it has to do with the bracelet. So like if you take the bracelet off, then all the swatches of that show up. And I let Nando know about that as well, so I think that's another thing that's being worked on. So yeah, I think that's like the benefit of like some people having the mod earlier is that you can get feedback on it, like know what's messed up with it, so that when you do like the free release for everyone, then everything functions a little bit better, because yeah, it's easy to overlook some things. Oh, and also in addition to the version of this house with the custom content in it that's in Palm Falls, I did also upload a custom content free version of this build, because I know a lot of you, you know, maybe don't want to download a build that requires you to have to download custom content to get everything in it. And also there's some of you who may be waiting for the free-for-all release version of this to have it. You know, you might want to use this in the meantime. So I did take the mod out of my game, and then I put this house into Jungle Advent, or why am I saying no, into Selva Dorada. And I just fixed up everything that was missing and messed up, and then re-uploaded that. So there is a custom content free version of this if you want that. So I'll have a link to that in the description. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to link to the version that has custom content on it, because that doesn't show up on the online gallery, unfortunately. So yeah, even if you don't have this mod and you don't plan on getting it, you can still download this build. And it does fit really well into Selva Dorada. Like, I really like how it looked there, because I put it in the side of the world closer to the jungle, like in one of the 30 by 20 lots over there, and it just fits in like perfectly into that world. So yeah, it also, like if you don't have this mod, then also just works really well as a vacation home for Selva Dorada. And in that version of it, because in this version I put the flower arranging station in this area under here under the house, But in the version of it that doesn't have custom content, I replaced that with the archaeologist station because I figured that'd be a bit more useful in that world. But I didn't put that in this one because it's not really going to be very useful in Palm Falls or Granite Falls, so I didn't see much of a point putting that in here. I figured the flower arranging would be a little bit more useful. I was basically just trying to figure out things to fill up the area down here because, as you can see, the whole area under the house was just turned into this big old living area because I wanted to make use of this space. Like, I didn't want to just put dirt in here and have a bunch of, like, some plants and stuff under here, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to just create, like, an outdoor eating area, an outdoor living area with a bunch of chairs, so it's just, like, a nice spot to have a bunch of people come over to hang out. So this lot is very outdoor focused because I imagine, like, anyone who would vacation here would just want to spend a lot of their time in the outdoors rather than being cooped up in the house. And then I also added in some of those fans to keep the space cool, and I did this trick I saw on Twitter. Unfortunately, I don't remember who originally put it out there, but it's just a trick where you take the bare bulb light that came with Laundry Day and you intersect it with a fan, and then you can make it so that the fan is actually, it actually looks like a light, because when I saw that they added ceiling fans in, I was hoping that it would actually be a light as well, but unfortunately it wasn't, so that was just a nice way to get around that and give the effect of it being a light. And I think I also saw Freezer Bunny combine the lights that came with, I think it was fitness stuff with it. So that was another really cool way to get a light fixture, and that's another way that, like, definitely looks a little bit more elegant than what I did here. But I think since I had the lower ceiling, that didn't really work quite as well because you'd have to use the middle light, because I think the smallest one ends up intersecting with the fan, so that doesn't work. So did not have the appropriate ceiling heights to try that because I really wanted to, because I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks really good. But I believe at this point the whole under the house area is done being furnished, so now I'm just moving on to putting some furniture out here on the decks in this area, and then after that we'll of course be on to the inside of the house, which I really like as well. This isn't a very big house, like it's only 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and you can fit a maximum of 4 Sims in unless you, like, have some people come along the trip and sleep on the couch, which you could also do, because I mean that's a thing that ends up happening on vacations where you unfortunately don't end up with a house that fits everyone, so some people get designated to floor spots, which always sucks. I had that happen on a couple of vacations I took with friends. I actually built this whole house in one day, which I don't normally do unless it's like a starter home or something really small like that, but once I finally got started on something that I was really happy with, I got on a roll and I just kept wanting to build. And plus it was a holiday weekend here in the US, so I had an extra day off, so they gave me a little bit more time to work on video related things. So I spent a good chunk of the day Sunday working on this, and then Monday was Labor Day, which is a holiday that we had off for. And I didn't really do anything typically Labor Day like go to a cookout, but I did run my second 5K, which is pretty exciting because as much as I've said I don't like running in past videos, because I think I've talked about in past videos about how I don't really like running much, I have gone into doing that more just because I realize it's a good excuse. Like, it's a pretty good workout, and plus it's a good excuse to actually get outside and get some vitamin D, because I have been deficient in that in the past. But anyway, I realized I was like starting to lose motivation to run. I just ended up doing other stuff for cardio instead. So I realized that I need to sign up for the occasional 5K to keep myself motivated, so that way I at least keep myself in running shape enough to run 3 miles. So yeah, I just decided to do a 5K on Labor Day, and it went pretty well. Like, I did better than I did in my first 5K because I actually prepared for this one enough, because like for that one I signed up for like 2 or 3 weeks before and I hadn't run in years, and I forced myself to run 3 miles like the week before it and injured my feet in the process, and then they were still hurt when I ran the 5K, so that slowed me down and my feet went numb, and it wasn't fun, but fortunately things went a lot better this time, although it still took me like 38 or 39 minutes to finish it, which isn't the best, but my running pace for longer distances isn't really that fast. And also this is kind of gross, but I almost threw up at the end of the race, because I think it was just a mix of like the humidity, because it was super humid, like it was so humid that you could just see the moisture particles in the air. Like, it looked almost like someone was just like spraying a hose and the mist was like falling down. Like, that's how bad it was. And I also made the stupid mistake of eating a fairly large breakfast right before the 5K. So like right at the very end of it, like when I could see the finish line, like I was probably several hundred feet away from it, I started to like, you know, get that feeling you get when you're about to throw up, and I was just like, no, not now, please, the finish line's right there, please don't do this to me now, body, just let me finish the race. but like it, you know, like I just kept getting that feeling like something was trying to come up. So I'm sorry this is like really gross, but yeah, so I ended up unfortunately like having to stop like in the grass to like, you know, like let myself potentially throw up. Fortunately nothing came up, but I just like, that definitely like added some more time onto it, because like I could see the finish line, like the timer was ticking. I was like, no, this is like, I wasn't being super competitive about the time, but still I didn't want to have a minute or two tacked on it to it, because I was just like standing in the grass feeling really nauseous. But fortunately it passed and nothing came up, and then I got up and then I started running again. Although because I started running, I noticed that there was a guy with a camera aimed right at me, because I had this guy, like he was kind of laying on the ground taking pictures of people in the glorious final moments of the race as they were about to cross the finish line, and then of course is like aimed right at me as I was having that moment. So hopefully he didn't take any pictures. I mean, I would hope that he would get, you know, like see that that's maybe not the best moment to take a picture of someone in. So I don't know, because I think they're probably gonna post pictures somewhere and I just don't want to look at them because I don't want to potentially see that. Plus, like I mean, I get why like they take pictures of the races, because, you know, maybe some people like want to see those kinds of want to see those pictures, but like I don't, because very few people look good when they're running. Like, you know, it's not a good moment, like you're all sweaty, you got your mouth hanging open because you're trying to suck in as much oxygen as possible. Like, that's not a picture of myself that I want to see. So I'm just not even gonna bother looking. But anyway, enough of that rambling. Back to the build. We have furnished a good bit of this main area in here. So we got the kitchen furnished. Currently trying to figure out the dining situation, because I wasn't really happy with that, and I did go a little bit more vibrant with the interior of this build than I did the outside, because the outside is very neutral and a little bit more muted, but with the inside I just wanted to brighten things up a little bit. I also finally used these new wallpapers that came with the most recent patch, because I've been wanting to use them. Like, I've been wanting to do a build using them, so this was one where I could finally put those to use, and I think they look really good in here. And over in here, I was trying to create this desk area in the entrance, because I originally thought about putting a computer there, but then I decided not to, because this is meant to be a vacation home and usually you wouldn't have a computer already there. But I just thought it'd be nice to have a desk where, like, you know, even though we don't have laptops in this game, you know, if someone had a laptop, they could just sit at the desk and work at it, or maybe like sit there and write or something along those lines, because I wasn't trying to make this house too personalized, because it is supposed to be a vacation home, but I still wanted to be very cozy and lived in feeling. Like, I imagine that whoever owns this home and rents it out likes it to feel very homey for their guests. So they have little, you know, little decorative touches all over the place and lots of knickknacks. And, you know, in the kitchen there's like some clutter in the kitchen. I try not to put too much, but like I had the bread box on top of the microwave and appliances and that kind of a thing. And I don't think there's really like a ton of other clutter other than that. Like, it's mostly just like typical kitchen necessities, rather than like I was trying to make it look like a mess in there. But here I was just switching out the dining room table, because I realized that the one I had there was a little bit too large for the space. Like, it was starting to cut into the living room, like it was almost touching the couch. So I just figured that small one would be best, especially since we have that 8-seater table downstairs, because I imagine that maybe that's where you'd eat a little bit more often. Like, maybe that's where you'd have dinner and larger meals, and then you just kind of eat breakfast or a quick meal like that up in the house. And as you can see, I also went with an orange and green color scheme, which I think looks really nice. Like, I wasn't really sure about the orange at first. Like, I thought maybe it was a bit too much, but I like it. I like that it's a little bit more vibrant. Like, I think it looks better than if I had just gone for neutral colors. I don't know, maybe neutral colors would look better, but still, I was just really happy with how it looked, and I didn't want the inside to be as neutral as the outside was. But I think at this point we're getting pretty close to being done with the living area in here, so we'll be moving on to the bathroom next, and then of course the 2 bedrooms. So I was just trying to get some decorations here next to the TV to make all of that feel filled in. I ended up just going with a lower tech TV because, as I said, like, the point of this house isn't really to like be inside and have like the nicest things. It's just kind of like to have an outdoorsy experience, so I didn't think having a fancy TV was really necessary for here. But with the bathroom, my original plan was to have a washer and a dryer in here as well, but with how I originally furnished it, like, I didn't end up putting that in, because I had the door like in that spot where I had it now, and here I'm trying to like fit in a washer and dryer, but then I just realized that, I don't know, I just didn't like how having them stacked on top of each other, like kind of right in the middle of the wall like that looked. So I ended up taking it out. But then at the last minute, like after I had finished, like, because I finished the house on Sunday, and then Monday, I went, like I thought of a way to make the bathroom better. So I went back in and basically I moved the door a tile over. So then I had a little bit more space right as you walked in. So then I just put the washer and dryer beside each other in there, and then just kind of left everything else as it is. So in the end, this house does have a washer and dryer in it, because my plan was, like after I realized that I didn't really like how it was looking, how it is now, I just stuck a wash tub outside. But then went back the next day because I realized, no, I should probably have an actual washer and dryer in here, not just have that. So that's why I went ahead and made the change, and also threw in a curtain because I realized I didn't have any out there and thought that would look a little bit better. So now we're on to the bedrooms, and the first I decided to add some curtains out here because I realized the kitchen could probably use something a little bit more. But anyway, after this we'll be on to the bedrooms. And with the larger bedroom, which is the one with the double bed, I definitely went with a lot more of a vibrant look, because I used this bed in the bright green color, and then originally I had the bright green curtains, but later down the road I realized that was perhaps a bit too much, so I did tone those down and change them to white, because yeah, it's definitely a little bit overwhelming in here now with the palm leaf wallpaper and then the bright green curtains. So yeah, it is toned down in the end, so it does look better. And with this house, I also use the buy debug sheet, which is bb.show hidden objects, to be able to get into the debug items. And I just stuck some books at certain points in the house, like some books I pulled from that, because I like having books on tables throughout the house, but I don't really like using that same book stack over and over again. So that's just a nice way to get some different kinds of books, and you can find magazines and stuff like that in there. So I definitely need to make use of the debug objects more, because they're definitely really useful for making homes feel more personal and lived in and all of that. Oh, I just remember there was another custom content object that I used in this room. Oh yeah, it's already in here. Yeah, so there was this beach bag and also a duffel bag that came with the mod pack. So I stuck them in the bedrooms as well, just to give the look of like people were, or like, I guess if your Sims visit, it's just kind of like the look of like, oh, like that's their bags and they are just sitting there. And those items are actually functional, like you can use them to change your Sims outfits, and other cool things, you can also click on it and directly go on vacation from those bags, which is just a really neat touch. But if you download the custom content version, then obviously like those items will be gone. But yeah, I mean, they're there if you have them on. I just thought that was kind of a cool little detail for this room. But we are on the second room, which is definitely way less vibrant than the first one. Like, it's a lot more muted and softer, because I just kind of wanted to go with a different feel for this bedroom. So this one has 2 single beds, so if you have a family go on the trip, then the parents would stay in the other bedroom, and then the kids would be in this room together. And then if they have a toddler, then you can probably just get that portable toddler bed and just plop it down somewhere. Like, you might be able to cram into this room. Like, if you got rid of the the duffel bag, you could probably fit that at the foot of the bed, maybe, like if you wanted to cram a toddler in there. So that could work as well. But anyway, this is the point where I went back and fixed up the bathroom and added in a little laundry area to it. So yeah, there's not really much more to the building part of this video. So as I said before, there is a download link for the custom content free version in the description, and other stuff in there on how to find it in game. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and leave off here. So I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video.